Continues to throw barbs at one of our strongest allies, Israel. Take a listen.
His statements have suggested that there is the possibility of a Palestinian state, but it has so many caveats, so many conditions, that it is not realistic to think that those conditions would be met any time in the near future.
Right.
And so the danger here is that Israel as a whole loses credibility.
With me now, Israeli Defense Force captain and sniper, Hollywood screenwriter, and the author of the new book, Dawn of the Dead, Dan Gordon. All right, Dan, you just came back from Israel. What do the people in Israel think about our president and that interview in particular?
Look, I think there's a tendency to think that the history of Israel began with the re-election of Bibi Netanyahu. People forget that 10 years ago in 2005, we did exactly what the international community and then Senator Barack Obama said we should do that would get us instant credibility, not just credibility, but peace. We deployed the Israel Defense Forces against 10,000 people, not Palestinians, but against Israeli Jews. We pulled them out of the settlements, which were supposedly the problem. We pulled them out of their homes, their farms, their places of worship, without one single caveat. We gave Gaza back to the Palestine Authority, and what we got in return wasn't credibility, wasn't peace. We got Hamas, 12,000 rockets, and last summer we got one of the most terrifying things I've seen in 40 years as a soldier, and that's terrorist tunnel attacks that literally came up in our front yards, in kindergartens, in dining halls, with the attempt to kidnap, maim, and murder and drag back into Gaza our men, women, and children. So now we have a caveat or two. To sort of paraphrase the former Prime Minister of Israel, it's caveat schmaviat.
You know, I'm not gonna get too much into this discussion of the United States-Israeli relations, but I mean, does Israel understand that irrespective of who the leader is, America is always going to stand with Israel, or are they skeptical now?
No, I think the people of Israel, first of all, are grateful more than anything else to any people on the face of the earth, to the American people and to the United States of America. We know that the first country that recognized Israel was the United States, and we know that the American people have our backs, and we have nothing but gratitude for the United States of America. And you see an American serviceman in Israel, he can't buy dinner or a drink that gets bought for him.
All right, I want to focus on Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead. A great book, and it speaks to some of your experiences. Tell us about this.
You know, I've been in 6 Middle Eastern wars, including the last war in 2014, last year. And that, as I said, ushered in something that was really the most terrifying phenomenon I'd ever seen in my life, and that is terrorist attack tunnels that went underneath the recognized 1948 borders of Israel, from Gaza into Israel. And all of a sudden, it was like Night of the Living Dead. Your lawn opens up, and like zombies coming up out of the ground, a dozen terrorists armed with RPGs, machine guns, thousands of rounds of ammunition, hand grenades, and tranquilizer shots and handcuffs meant to take women and children hostage, kill and maim as many as possible, and then drag them back into Gaza. As I began researching the book, I suddenly realized that the country that's even more vulnerable to that than Israel was, because we neutralized the tunnels, is the United States of America.
And why?
Because we have drug smuggling tunnels that exist right now beneath the Mexican border that go into California, that go into Arizona, that go into Texas. It is not only not inconceivable, it is probable that the terrorist organizations have developed ties with the drug cartels. We know they have in South America. There's no reason they shouldn't in Mexico. ISIS is the richest terrorist organization in the history of the world. It has billions. That's a language the cartels understand. With the drug smuggling tunnels that exist now, you could infiltrate 500 to 1,000 ISIS terrorists with RPGs, machine guns, hand grenades. Here into California, into Arizona, into Texas.
I'm sorry we don't have more time for this, but that is a frightening concept, and it is based on a lot of reality as well. Day of the Dead, I'm going to read it, and it is a pleasure having you on, Captain. And
Thank you so much, Judge.
We really appreciate your what you do with the Israeli Defense Force.
Right back at you.
Thank you. All right, Dan.